Welcome to lesson number 5. In this lesson we will line these pictures out, well, they're behind my head right now, these pictures, with something that is called the flex method. And trust me, you will use this method forever. It is awesome and it works great. You just need to know it and never forget it. The way the flex method works is that we target the container, which is the purple bar in this case, and tell all of the stuff inside it to distribute itself in a certain way. We need to type hashtag images because that is the div that the images are in. So that's this purple bar. And in here we're going to add some lines that change the placements of these images. So first we need to declare the display type flex. So before we did something like this, display type none, which just means that it's gone. We also did display type grid, for instance, but in here we're going to use, well, the flex method, and that's why we are going to call it flex. So display type flex. The second line you need to add is justify content, and this is really the most important line. And let's now enter center, for instance, and as you can see, it just moves all of the content to the center. There's still one problem, and that's that it's still squished to the top. So if we want to center it vertically as well, we need to enter another line, which is called align items, and let's type center again. As you can see, it's now centered in the middle of the box. One thing that's important to note is that the display method works in a direction. Just like we used grid columns and grid rows, we can also change the flex method to work from left to right or from top to bottom. So if I remove this align item center for a second, and now type underneath this flex direction and let's say column, that just messes with the whole page, but as you can see, it now aligns the items from top to bottom. If I now were to type align items center, it does not align them from top to bottom like it did before, but from left to right. So it has kind of changed these two values, align items and justify content around. But I need this to be row, and because row is the default, I can remove this line altogether and just leave it as is. Let's talk some more about justify content for a second, because I just told you it's the most important, and here is why. Instead of center, we can also enter things like space around. There is one problem with space around in this case, and that is that it adds the space between the images sort of doubly, because we have the space from this picture and from this picture, and those two spaces together make a really big space. So what we can do instead of space around is space evenly. And as you can see, now all of the spaces between the images and even on the sides are the exact same size, and this looks great in my opinion. But the reason that we won't use this method, even though it looks great as of right now, is because if we start changing the size of the page, and well, that will happen because people have different sizes of screens, it starts to get a bit weird. Because if I drag this out, well, now it just looks weird. On the most websites, they just keep all of the content sort of in the middle, even on bigger screens, with just a fixed gap between all these images. And that is what we will do as well. For this, however, we will use another method that I will teach you in the next lesson. But for now, we're going to just give this a value of center, which will keep all of these images nicely tucked away in the center. And if I make this page bigger, they are still in the center, and that is what we need for now. And in the next lesson, we will make some space between these images. But for now, thank you for watching this lesson, and I'll see you in the next one.